skin, so gorgeous. We thank the life gorgeous. Thank the life gorgeous. I love the life gorgeous. Its torso is so tight.
Ladies and gentlemen, from my beautiful mahogany panel den, this is The Life Gorgeous with Mr. Kilborn, sharing my magical life in hopes of improving your life. And oh, what a show today. Rich Eisen, the great Rich Eisen, my old drinking buddy from Bristol, Connecticut. He's busy, but not too busy for us. He's the guest today. Also coming up later, I answer your questions. Very popular segment. Keep those questions coming. Go to the YouTube page, leave a message, ask a question. I'm so proud of you. And today, a little special feature, the question of the week. This was from my iconic Instagram. I get DMs and comments on my Instagram asking me questions. Today's question: Craig, if you weren't the natural host, how would that change your comedic style? Oh, well, I'd have to hustle. I'd be what we call a comedy scrapper. Lots of voices, dialects, impressions. I would be doing Christopher Walken meets James Cagney, old school, new school, maybe a two-man show. I would do pratfalls. I would be hyper and zany. I might do physical comedy. You can't see this. The crane. I would be kind of a neurotic little man scrapping, something like that. But thank God I'm the natural host and I can just glide through life and not sweat. That was a probing question, and I think I showed some vulnerability. I hope you enjoyed that. Without further ado, let's enjoy this week's special guest, Rich Eisen, and we're dissolving. America, look who's here. Look who's here. The busiest man in show business.
Yes, sir.
Tell me if this is right. Radio show, NFL Network. You just went to Italy. I hear you're cooking meals now for your family at night.
That I think you were accurate up until that point.
Okay.
unless my kids are named Uber and Eats. But they're not. I haven't renamed them. Post
Rich
and Mace.
Eisen, thank you for squeezing us in. I know how swamped you are, but you told me to bother you early on when we started The Life Gorgeous. Thanks, man.
Of course. Anything for you, Lord Kilby. Anything for you. You've got a much nicer background. Is that like some sort of like conquistador situation behind you? What do you got? I'm in a rental house with 2 doors. I got nothing. Look at you. It's like you're in the Natural History Museum there.
Well, you're refurbishing your other house and putting in multiple pools to swim laps in the morning. I know how you do that.
Yeah.
And you're probably in some luxurious rental right now. Mm-hmm. Yes, a conquistador lamp. It's in the den. Hey, Rich, this is the den where I watched the Vikings. I call them KOC and the Sunshine Team. I'm going to copyright that for the Vikings. You can use that too. KOC and the Sunshine Team. Did you get a chance? I see every play. Did you get to see every play of the Vikings? You have to keep your 5
I did
monitors.
Not see every play of the Vikings. That was a late window game. And I was traveling home from the NFL Network where I stayed to watch all the early games this week because there were 9 of them, which is a multiple of the number of small, teenage to 9-year-old children that I have. So I needed to be out of the house to see all 9 of them. So I didn't see all of it, but I definitely saw the drop by Christian Watson that could have tied the game early. And then I just watched the Gritty being danced. I didn't miss the Gritty. I didn't miss Big Z, standing over his former quarterback and sort of,
fun.
I like that. I like the energy he's bringing. I saw Harrison Smith's first interception of that Rodgers has thrown in division.
He's my favorite Viking along with Eric Kendricks. Hitman Harry had a very good game. I don't know if you saw their goal line stance, but he made 2 great plays there. By the way, Patrick Peterson, the guy heard footsteps. That's why he dropped the ball. Everyone says Peterson got beat, and he did. But that was Peterson. Rodgers talked to him after the game, and Patrick Peterson was like, I wasn't warmed up yet, man. It was the first play
Yeah.
from scrimmage for the Packers. They dropped it. That was hilarious.
And it might
me.
have been a different result if Green Bay had just hit him back in the mouth like that. Just like, okay, nice opening drive, Vikes. You know, you think it's your division this year, but guess what? I'm still Aaron Rodgers, discount, double check, touchdown, you know, all that business. And instead, it was just a fresh reminder of the youth that he's relying on at the position, you know, and so it was a different game after that. Correct.
Well, I did want to ask you, I love the Vikings, as you know, and I live and die with all the games. I'm a fan from 1970 on.
Mm-hmm.
We play at Philadelphia next week, Monday night. Very difficult place to play. I want to be tactful here, Rich, because I was raised not to use the word low class or low rent. My father said, don't do that. What kind of fans are in Philly? You know the NFL better than anybody. I mean, what kind of fans are there, and where do they rank as far as the worst fans or the most aggressive?
You know what? They are very, very, very passionate. They're also very sensitive of being painted with the large brush of throwing batteries at Santa, that type of stuff. That just because that happened back in the day, and that there used to be a courthouse in the belly of Veterans Stadium to immediately process those who run afoul of the rules. That they're very sensitive that everyone's like that,
right?
And they're not all like that at all.
They're not.
But no, they are not. They are not.
I have a friend.
They're passionate. They love their Eagles or Eagles, and you know, it's 1-0 versus 1-0. Craig, right out of the gate, man, it's pretty big.
I do have a friend from Philly, and I told him, I asked him about the fans a few years ago, and he goes, I have nothing to do with them. I'm from Philly, but so he admitted that they were problem people. A lot of these guys are a little too crazy and intense, but that's life. And it's a tough place to play.
I mean, clearly if you're processing those who run afoul by just front loading the courthouse inside the stadium as it used to be, but things are different now, Craig. It's a different century, a different world, you know. I'm going to be doing the Westwood One coverage of that Vikings Eagles game, just like we're talking right now before the Monday nighter in Seattle tonight. But despite me being on the clock shortly, Craig, it's your pod, and I figured I'd come equipped, figuring that you're in the same mix right now.
I got a little tiny Chopin in here without any ice. A little Chopin. Usually it's Belvedere. Sometimes it's Chopin. Nice to see you, man. You're such a good young person.
5 o'clock somewhere. Here we go.
I wanted to ask you something. I learned something about you. I did a little research. As you know, I've said this publicly. I'm going to say it again. I think you dominate the NFL network. You're the face of the network. I think it's a perfect gig for you. However, my research was, it sounded like at ESPN, you were willing to stay there if you guys could have worked out a deal. I like to say they couldn't afford Rich. That's what I believe. But so you didn't leave to go to NFL Network. You were negotiating, and then you guys just said, screw it. And then you were a free agent. Is that right?
Yeah. Yes. I was thinking I would never leave, Craig. You know, you were one of the first people to greet me at the gates. If I'm not mistaken, the day I first came by, either first time I ever walked in the building was the day that Colorado and Cordell Stewart threw a Hail Mary on Michigan. And I was just stopping by for an informational interview with Keith Olbermann, who I got on his radar screen through my internship executive producer at the CBS Evening News. And I walked in there, and I do believe that might have been the day or the day before when I was there. You were shooting the Don't Walk Sports Center commercial. I think that was the day.
Oh, it had to be. No. Because you were there earlier than that, because I left
in 96.
I was already
arrived.
What's that?
Right. But this was 94 when I came by for Keith Olbermann. This was 94.
We did Don't Walk later, because they had to edit me out because I left. It was
okay. So then it was my first day of work, my February of 1996. Then it was exactly that. Now we've pegged it. I walked in the building, and you were shooting the Don't Walk commercial for Sports Center. And you were one of the first that I met there. And I just remember falling in love with the place and thinking, I will
Yeah.
never leave ever. And so sure enough, it just came down to not getting, to play around with so many other things that ESPN had. I mean, from Good Morning America, the Disney toy chest. I wanted to do so much more. And I
Right.
literally thought there'd be a few more days to negotiate. And I got a call from USA Today. I think a guy's name was Hestand or whatever, his name, Michael Hestand, to say he wanted comment because ESPN had let him know that I had been not renewed. And I'm like, that's interesting because I had a few days left on my contract and then things
Right.
kind of moved after that.
Was that
Craig.
surprising? Were you stunned that they
Oh, yeah.
just said,
Oh, yeah.
no, we're done
Of course I was
negotiating?
stunned. I thought I was going to do more sports centers like the following week. And
And
that
you
was
were,
it. They
and
cut it short.
you were there 7 years. Now, just to
Mhm.
let you know, just to help you in case you don't know this, it worked out really well for you, buddy. I mean,
At the time in real life, man, it was stunning though. I was, I was really, look, you clearly, you and Keith were the guys who, when I was there,
right,
Keith, you left almost immediately. And I remember you taking me through the Kenny Rogers Roll and Roaster. I've told this story when you were on my show, but I'll tell it
right.
on your pod here. You took me through the Kenny Rogers Roll and Roaster in Southington, Connecticut for dinner on the night that you and I did a sports center together.
One of the most
And
expensive dinners I've paid for. You were hungry that night.
oh
You
yeah,
were
man, you paid for the extra gravy and the side of
absolutely
the mashed potatoes and everything. It was great. And I just remember you said to me, "Hey Spark, you want to go grab some dinner?" And I'm like, "Oh sure." And then we hopped in your car. You took me through the drive through, and I remember you asked me, you told me about this other gig that you had on your radar screen, and if you should take it. And you described the
Mhm.
Daily Show to me, which I didn't know at the
Yeah,
time what it was. And then when you finally
sure.
took that job, I'm like, holy shit, he actually was telling me about the Daily Show gig when we were driving through it. And I was
Right.
26, fresh from Redding, California, just up the road from Salinas, where you got your local
Yeah.
chops.
Yeah.
And, I said to myself, okay, sure. He wants to go. I said, okay, you should do it. And then you did. And then Keith left. So I
Right.
wanted to play, I saw what you guys had going on. So
I had a great time at ESPN because I wasn't there very long. Now, some of the people complained about it. And my thing, and I said this somewhere once, but I'll say it again and run it by you, is they used to say that ESPN wasn't talent friendly. And then they became more talent friendly. They got a makeup artist for people and they got us some suits for the guys and all this kind of stuff. But my thing was this, that they would say things like, well, you understand, we have to pay for NFL rights and Major League Baseball rights and NBA rights and NHL rights, and it's really expensive. So we don't have a lot of money left over for you guys. And what drives our network are these leagues. And I wanted to say, yeah, I get that. You don't have to remind us about that every day. You
mhm.
don't have to tell us that every day, like the producers, because I felt like, because when you go to Comedy Central and then all they care about is talent. That's the big, precious thing that they have is who's on the air there. But I wasn't at ESPN long enough to complain because I had a 3-year deal and I was out. But I heard other people say that they weren't talent friendly. You had a good experience there, it sounds like.
I did. I mean, when I got there, the makeup artist had already been hired,
Right.
and they were beginning to give away suits. And, and I was 26 coming from Redding, California, in Northern California. And the number of people that were in the ESPN newsroom doubled the number of people that worked in my shop,
Yeah.
and I had watched Sports Center since I was in college, and I wanted to do stand-up comedy, and I did stand-up comedy in college, and I also wanted to be a talk show host. Those were the two
Right.
things that I dreamed of doing, along with sportscasting, if I could be so lucky. And so I was watching Sports Center in college in the late 80s, and I saw that you could kind of have a comedic bent
Yeah.
to it. Then I got to Redding, California in '94, and I started watching Dan and Keith, and then late at night or like 11:30 my time, somebody coming on and putting, William Shatner photographs over his shoulder.
It's
And
Shatner's town.
exactly. And I'm like, okay, I I can do this. And I basically um, fashioned all of my sportscasts because when I would go out into town in Reading and the other beautiful parts of the area, I would shoot the video and then I'd come back and edit it and write to the picture and write my scripts. And I'm like, I can basically do my own sports center at the local level and
Right.
see how I could. So I was fashioning everything to what everyone was doing. And
Right.
that's why I loved doing it there. I
I
loved it.
I've
Loved
said
it.
this, that, and especially after working in late night, I thought ESPN was a pretty normal place. I actually told an executive that after I left late night, an executive at ESPN. I said, no, ESPN was normal, kind of normal, because you had really talented people there, but everyone kind of got along or gave each other space. And the great Scott Ackerson, who was one of the producers at ESPN, who let me put Shatner over my shoulder.
Mhm.
What are you doing now, Craig? Let me read it. Like that. That was Scott Ackerson. I was putting pop culture over the shoulders before he went to the story.
Yeah,
But he
it's great.
told me a great quote. I don't know if I told you on your radio show, but Scott Ackerson had worked in local news and down in San Antonio and Minneapolis. And he said, the biggest egos I've ever seen are in local news, because all the reporters, they want to do their stand up and go to the next big market. So I thought everyone pretty much got along pretty well at ESPN, and I thought it was a kind of a normal place and well produced.
Well,
All the shows
we
were
did,
well
we
produced.
did. Yeah, we generally did get along. I mean, after you left, and then Keith left, and there was that chair next to Dan, and they held like an internal, I guess, audition to see who would
Right.
sit next to Dan, and Kenny Mayne wound up winning that seat. There was definitely on occasion and healthy competition, I guess, or on occasion borderline unhealthy. Stewart got pissed at me. Stewart got pissed at me for wanting the seat,
Yeah.
and because
Well,
he's like,
you
we're
should
the
want
late
it.
night.
Yeah.
He's like, we have our own team. Like, why would you want to break us up just to get another chair? Earlier on in the night at the so-called primetime big show seat. He goes, we're the big show now. Like, you should want to stay there. And so when Kenny got the gig, I just paid it no mind after all that. But everyone still got along. But
Right.
there was a competition then for that, for sure. Yeah.
How did you get the NFL gig? Because I just think it's such a wonderful gig that you have, and you are so fun to watch. And Mariucci and Kurt Warner, these guys are great.
Yeah, we genuinely love each other. I mean, Steve Bornstein, who from
Hmm.
ESPN, because he was the president of ESPN at the time, I like to say he's so smart. He hired me twice. So, he technically was Al Jaffe, who was the talent coordinator and
Right.
stalker, who probably saw your tape in Salinas and he saw my tape from Reading. And, he hired me. He's the one who reached out to me in Reading, California to audition. But Bornstein was in charge of ESPN at the time. And, when I popped free after I, was cut loose by ESPN, he's one of the first people that I was in contact with. I also had an opportunity at the time. Turner Sports had reached out to me to call Braves games.
Oh, wow.
And so
Wow.
that was an opportunity for me. But I was just getting married. My wife, Susie, who I met at ESPN, and I just didn't want to go on the road 100 games a year and call baseball games. So the idea of moving out to Los Angeles, and Steve also knew what kind of floated my boat. The show that I did at the start called NFL Total Access was on at 8 Eastern time, 8 Pacific, 11 Eastern. And he said, I'd like you to do celebrity interviews, celebrity elements, some comedic stuff. He knew I wanted to do the late night gig. And
Right.
so he wanted it to be a pop culture landscape that had a late night feel to it because it was 11 Eastern time. And, starting something for the NFL was kind of the smartest bet to live in Los Angeles. So that's what I wound up doing.
How long from ESPN, leaving ESPN to getting the gig at the NFL Network? How long was that period?
A few weeks.
I
Few
love
weeks.
that.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah, it was a
When
few weeks, and I got killer. I got married in between, and there was an ESPN executive table that was empty. There were some
oh,
cards, some place cards on the
oh,
table that went unclaimed. My wedding
that's
night. Yeah.
hilarious. So you're
Oh yeah,
saying,
man.
because I've heard you joke when they had their anniversary when I was on your show,
Yeah,
you joked you didn't get an invite. Are
it's true.
you didn't do a Kilborn. You didn't say, I mean, I could tell you the negotiation I had with them. I wasn't good. I said to
Okay.
the agent at the time, I'm not doing this. I'm not coming back. Well, you have to answer. You have to say something to them. So they were
Right.
willing to double my father taught me never to talk salaries, which I won't, but they were going to double my salary or even more. So I went up to a number that they wouldn't even come close to, which was probably triple it. And
Mhm.
then they said, of course, we can't do that. But I didn't even want to do that. I wasn't going to sign. Even if they did it, I wasn't going to go back. And then Comedy Central blew that out of the water. They paid me like 5 times as much as I was making at ESPN. But it's entertainment, so it's a little different thing. But
Right.
what did you do wrong to where I understand that, they
I
have an
don't
issue
know,
with
man.
me.
I did nothing wrong. I did
That's what I'm
nothing
saying.
wrong.
That's what I'm saying.
Nothing.
So
I don't get it.
why would they have
I don't know.
any bad feelings? Because you're a
They don't.
leader
I mean, I
and you
don't
went
know.
and dominated NFL Network?
I don't
I
know.
mean,
I haven't done anything. When John Skipper was there, I was friendly with him, and he wound up,
right.
because when I started my radio show, it was very difficult sometimes to get ESPN guests on
Oh,
because they were like, you're not a partner. You're a competitor to ESPN radio. I called up John Skipper and I'm like, hey man, is there a way you
yeah.
could cut through all this? Because I met John Skipper when he was an executive at ESPN, the magazine, which I
Right.
wrote for a while as well. And he then cut through all that. And I have nothing but the greatest respect and love for so many of our former on-air colleagues. And I keep in touch with so many off the air as well. I mean, I don't know. I'm maybe I'm not on the top of any list, but I'm cool with that because the people who I do stay in touch with, I have nothing but love for, and they with me, and I have no problem getting ESPN guests on my show. I respect the
Great.
hell out of all of
Yeah.
it. But I was handed a cardboard box in 2003, and I don't know, there might be some people still left around there that have an issue, and it certainly isn't anything that I said or did. My
Right.
kids, like I said, I met Susie in the newsroom. My kids are ESPN children, essentially. I
Right.
mean, so
Right.
it's in my DNA.
There's one other thing I'm going
It
to say
really
about
is.
ESPN, which I've said before, and it's fine.
Yeah.
Again, it was a fine place. There was some, I can always constructively help these people. If they ever want to call me, I can tell them how to run the place. I'm kidding. But they were heavy handed with suspensions, and they would there were no other networks that suspended as much as they did. And the funniest one was Jimmy Kimmel. And I talked to him about this. He went in the booth for Monday Night Football. They had replaced Joe Theismann with Tony Kornheiser. And he kept
Yeah.
doing jokes about Joe Theismann and Tony Kornheiser. This is Jimmy Kimmel live during the Monday Night Football game. And then the next day, this is what ESPN, Jimmy Kimmel has been banned for life from Monday Night Football. And I said to
Right.
Jimmy, he just laughed. He could care less. He dominates ABC.
Of
But
course. I mean,
why
he
are
does all their
why are they
upfronts. I
being
mean, he's with ABC.
Yeah, why are they so heavy-handed? Don't take yourself so seriously is what I've said. But anyways, that's life. Ladies and gentlemen, when anyone sends you money or if you need to get paid back, always ask for Zelle. With Zelle, the money goes straight into your bank account. And it works even if the sender banks somewhere different than you in the U.S. You can probably tell by looking at me that Kreger's likes to eat out. A lot of French restaurants. Sometimes my friends pay. I don't like that. Afterwards, I use Zelle and I send them money. I ordered a lot of food. Sometimes we go down to the park and have a barbecue. Afterwards, we all pitch in. I use Zelle. I send hundreds of dollars to my friends. It's kind of a rush. I'm in the park eating barbecue wearing linen. Life is good. The money sent goes straight into your bank account, typically in minutes between enrolled users. You don't have to download another app because it's probably already in your banking app. It's in over 1,600 different banking apps. Always double check that the sender has your correct U.S. mobile number or email address so the money goes to the right place, straight into your bank account. Look for Zelle in your banking app today. My name is Kreggers. Things are going very, very well. Is the NFL Network, is there any dysfunction there, or are you loving it? Because it seems like you love it.
I do love it, Craig. You know, I was fortunate to be there from day one. I did NFL Total Access, the tentpole show that helped start everything off, the nightly Sports Center, if you will, for 8 years. In year 6 of those 8, the NFL Network launched, or year 3, pardon me, of those 8, NFL Network launched Thursday Night Football. So I helped plant the flag there for them. In year 3 as well, we started covering the draft every year live from the draft site, planted the flag there for them on that front. A year later is when I started hosting the combine coverage every single year. And so I'm still doing all of that. I love all of that. You were kind enough to mention the Sunday morning show, which I joined 11 years ago now. Oh. And it's been me, Steve Mariucci, Kurt Warner, and Michael Irvin together. And we genuinely love each other. I mean, you know, Irv was actually a guest of Susie's at our wedding. She knew him from Fox Sports. And then when we had our third kid, our daughter, we had a baby naming ceremony just before the season. And Michael spoke there. I mean, we genuinely love each other, and I do love it. I do love them. And, you know, this is year 19 for me. Next year will be year 20.
Congrats.
And I would love to keep doing it as long as they'll have me. And the NFL just gets more and more popular every year. Oh. So I'm really lucky, man. I really am.
By the way, quick mention.
Yes, sir.
I always like guys that are like former coaches or players. Like Doc Rivers was really good on television as an analyst. Mariucci, his personality, his comfort level, his enthusiasm, his sense of humor, he's really fun to watch. You know that, right?
Yeah. And he's a delight. And Frank Caliendo has told me he thinks he's got a very Chris Farley delivery to him, where he's got a Farley-esque sort of delivery, the way he bursts out, the way he moves his hand. And he's genuinely like that. I mean, he hasn't changed since the minute he came off of the sideline for the Lions. Super Bowl 40 was his first gig for us. Super Bowl 57 is what we'll be covering this year together. Love him. Kurt is as advertised. He's great. And Michael Irvin's truly one of my favorite people on the planet. Really.
Yeah, he's good. They're all good. They're all good. Yeah, Mariucci looks like he drinks a little bit. Anyways, so I wanted to ask you, I know you work so many hours. I follow you on Instagram and the Rich Eisen show on Instagram. And I see you in these polo shirts, and you look like you're in shape. I mean, you got your chest and your arms. And I want to know, do you have time to work out? Do you have a trainer, or how do you manage your hours here?
I do Pilates once, if not twice a week.
Okay,
so I work on the core. the core. I've taken up pickleball. Craig, have you ever tried it? You ever tried?
No. Is that like handball or something, or what is pickleball?
See, no. Pickleball it's the name. It's the name. You know, it's like Pilates as well. Like you hear Pilates and some people think, okay, you're just chilling out and it's some sort of like Zen easy thing to do. And instead it's the toughest thing to do, called Pilates, because the guy who created it his last name was Pilates. So, and pickleball, I don't know where they came up with the idea. Maybe the wiffle ball looks like a pickle. I have no idea. People who are taking in this podcast right now would know the answer, probably screaming it at their screen or their phones or headsets. Look, it's really intense, and it's a hell of a workout. And you know, it's played on, I guess, half a tennis court, and you play it with your friends, and I play it once a week, and I love it. And it's a hell of a workout.
You look like you're in good shape. You look like you're in good shape.
It's all a mirage. It's those shirts. It's those shirts.
Those golf shirts. They can't hide that much, you know?
No,
so I think did you play sports growing up? You grew up on the East Coast, I believe. You told me, upstate New York.
Yes.
Or where'd you? Yeah.
No, I lived in Staten Island, New York. So I played stickball in a schoolyard of a public school, like PS5 or 4 or something like that. I don't forget what it is now. But I realized early on, Craig, I couldn't hit the curve. I couldn't make the jump shot. I had no athletic ability that was going to take me to the professional level. So I realized I had to talk about it if I had to get there. Watched Marv Albert do the
Yep.
NBC sports local sportscast every night. Warner Wolf, a guy named Jerry Gerard on Channel 11. He was brilliant. He was doing Sports Center dry humor before ESPN was born. I fell in love with it. And sportscasting comedy has always been something that I've always been attracted to. Interviewing, Johnny Carson, Letterman, and so on and so forth. There's Jon Stewart, who succeeded you. Obviously, it's been something I've always wanted to do. So to do my show every day, the way that I'm doing it, that I get to talk to so many different people. Like I'm talking to Jim Harbaugh tomorrow and Marcus Smart and Stefon Diggs and
Oh,
it's
Diggsy.
just to go all in on that stuff. It has allowed me to reconnect with you.
Yep.
It's awesome. I'm
Yeah.
like I said, a
You
lucky
just
guy.
said two things I wanted to ask you. I want to
Okay.
ask you
All right.
about Diggsy, and I want to ask you about Harbaugh. So Diggsy was
Okay.
my favorite Viking. Then he left. And I was actually telling Scooter Vertino, we were texting the other day, and Scooter's a Bills fan, if I remember correctly. But I was mentioning there was a shot of Diggs hugging Carl Towns after they won in LA at SoFi. Carl Towns was in the front row of the game. And I said to him, a Minnesota connection, they know each other. And I said, Diggsy left, but fortunately, it doesn't happen that often. We got Jefferson, and Jefferson is better than Diggsy. And he wasn't so sure of that. Now, I'm being very objective here because I love Diggs, but I know I've watched them both. And what Jefferson does, I said this prior to the game yesterday, he's just at a different level than Diggsy. Even if Diggsy is the fifth best receiver and Justin is one or two, do you have an opinion on who's better between Diggsy and JJ?
Well, look, how about this? I'll give you the diplomatic answer here in the fact that Stefon Diggs, when he said he wanted out of Minnesota, was viewed as a malcontent. Why would he leave a spot where clearly it's going to be his best chance to win? And then he goes to Western New York, where everybody thought he was crazy to want to go. And now he's crazy like a fox. So he's
Yeah.
perfect where he is for the
Yep.
quarterback that he has. And as you point out, it is very fortunate for a team to then replace him, if you will, with somebody who is supremely talented, generationally talented, and ready to take the mantle of number one wide receiver. And they got him because the team before him who chose him chose Jalen Reagor, the Philadelphia Eagles. And
Yeah.
ironically, he has now been acquired by the Vikings. He is now
Right,
a
right.
teammate of
Right.
Justin Jefferson. So clearly, I think the best receiver in the NFL right now is Devontae Adams, with Cooper Kupp standing right next to him.
Okay.
And Justin Jefferson has a monster chip on his shoulder to say he wants to be number one in the first week of the season. Certainly shows the intensity that
Yeah.
he has placed the chip on his shoulder with. So I don't know. I mean, like if you ask the Bills, would you like to replace Stefon Diggs with Justin Jefferson? The answer would be no, because he's theirs, and obviously you got a great kid in Justin Jefferson as well.
Yeah.
So, if I had to order them, if you actually demanded I order them, like right now, I would put Jefferson ahead of him just
There you
because
go.
he's
That's all I
younger.
wanted. That's all I wanted to hear.
But
Thank you.
but
Thank
but
you.
Diggs, I think is going to win the Super Bowl this year. So he'll have the last laugh
Well,
on everybody.
yeah.
I think he's
Yeah.
going
And
to
he
hoist
also
it
has a pretty special quarterback. I think he
big time.
runs too much. I just think Josh Allen runs too much. That's my opinion. I was going to say Harbaugh quickly because I'm going to go to the Life Gorgeous quiz in a moment.
Thank you.
Harbaugh was flirting with the
Yeah,
Vikings,
you guys.
and I
Yeah,
was
I
one
know.
of these guys that I followed the whole thing, and I had radio friends out there, and we were like, "Oh my God, he wants to come to the Vikings! Nab him, nab him!" We were fired up. Now we're very pleased with KOC, obviously. Were you surprised that he flirted with the Vikings and wanted to get
Very,
back in the NFL, or what were your
very.
thoughts?
Very.
You were
Trust me, Craig, when I envisioned Michigan finally beating Ohio State and winning the Big Ten championship, a dream that I had that seemed so fanciful, certainly going into last season, that it came true, is truly one of the most enjoyable sporting moments of my entire life. It
You
was
should let people
incredible.
know about that when you host an award show. You should
Ah,
really.
do you like that? Do you like that? I go into Ohio and I say it with my chest to all those Buckeye
Did you
honks that
get?
just have been.
Were
Oh my
people threatening you afterwards?
No, actually, there were a lot of Ohioans that came up to me saying, "I hate the Buckeyes." I'm glad you said that. Like, I mean, but they all have to, do one of these. They have
Right.
to do an aside. But look, man, I never thought the follow up to that would be Harbaugh spending the subsequent signing day interviewing with the Minnesota Vikings. I mean,
Yeah.
and the coordinators that he had clearly either reading the writing on the walls or had I don't know what, but losing both coordinators and then potentially Jim was not the way I saw the follow-up going. That said, I will absolutely take what I've seen out of the first 2 weeks and what this guy still stands for at Michigan. He's clearly put a team together that brushed it all off, thank goodness.
Right.
And he's got the quarterback that I think he's going to really try and do some damage with. But I was definitely shocked and glad that, you guys went with Kevin O'Connell instead, to be honest. I didn't want to lose him.
I'm very fond of 6'5", good-looking guys like KOC. And I hope he keeps improving like he says with the play calling. Rich, it's time for the Life Gorgeous quiz. Simple questions, profound insights. We have a heart out for Rich because he's working hard. We have him for a few more minutes. The Life Gorgeous quiz. Thoughts?
Here we go.
Thoughts on napping. What are your thoughts on napping?
Oh, God. It's the greatest of all time. It's the greatest. If I could sneak in 10, 15 minutes, I'm just a different human. 10, 15, that's all I need. I need 10, 15 minutes. That's all
I like
I need.
20, but I'm greedy. I like 20, but I have a little more time than you have.
Yeah, I've got little children. I've got 14, 11, and 9 who I adore them, but they're little narcissists who do not care what dad's been up to earlier in the day.
Well, they're in the right town for that. They're in the right town for narcissism. Do you know, by the way, here's a fun fact for everyone listening, because a narcissist, a lot of people use the word blah, blah, blah. The experts say people conflate narcissism with egotism, which is people who generally like themselves. Think about that. I'm telling the viewers to think about that. You don't have to. You have to go to the next question. Favorite Italian dish?
Oh, gosh.
I've asked this to a number of people.
My favorite Italian dish. I'll just go out and say it, even though, I've had amazing pasta meals. Cacio e pepe is, the favorite non-red sauce. I will take any good sort of bolognese. I'll do one of those. Yeah. But really, if need be, in a pinch, in the worst case scenario, you just need to hook me up intravenously with chicken parmesan, any chicken parm.
I knew it because that's what Ryan Russillo said. Michelle Beal got upset with that answer, she should. Yeah,
because parm is chicken parm is like,
she even said it wasn't Italian. It's an American.
It's
Italian
not. It's like
thing.
Americanized. Like just take chicken, bread it, and throw cheese and sauce on it. Right. No, it's not like it. Like as you kind of point out earlier on, I spent almost 2 weeks in Italy.
Oh, your pictures were amazing. How much weight did you gain?
I don't gain any weight over there. I'm the maintainer. That's my nickname when I go over to Italy. My nickname is the maintainer because I don't snack. You do a lot of walking, and the pasta. It's all natural, man. It just doesn't. Yeah. I'm a lucky guy. I'm a lucky guy. But,
First concert for Rich Eisen. First concert. Can you remember the first concert you went to when you were a kid in Staten Island?
Yes, I can. Chicago, Nassau Coliseum. Nassau Coliseum, Chicago.
In the Nets. Yes.
In the Islanders, in the Drive for Five and all of that stuff. This was in the, I think, 1984, 85, when Pete Cetera was singing love songs for the Karate Kid 2 soundtrack. Like, that's when things were really cooking for Chicago. I had their greatest hits on a cassette tape that I played so much it broke. Right. And I went to the Nassau Coliseum to see Chicago. Yeah.
Follow-up question. Two follow-up questions. How old were you?
Yes.
Do you remember?
What was it, 1985? I mean, 16, 17.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
our friend Peter Schrager from the NFL Network did the podcast.
Yes.
He said he went to
Uh-huh.
Bare Naked Ladies as a ninth grader, freshman. And he said he was
really not.
making out with a stranger there.
Wow.
Did you make out with anybody at 16 years
No,
old?
I attempted to. I attempted to. Her name was Kristen Osdahl. I took her. My dad, may he rest in peace, drove us out in some like Pontiac Safari station wagon. This was prior to the days of cell phones. So he drove around the perimeter of the Nassau Coliseum for hours until it was time to pick me up. Maybe the greatest dad movie ever.
That is.
He ever did. But
that is sweet. I thought for sure
there was
you
no
would just
glory
laugh
of love that night for me. There was no glory of love for me that night, Craig. No, not like Schraeg's bare naked lady makeout sessions. Good Lord.
I thought that question would just get a laugh and a no, but instead it was, I tried, man. I tried.
Hey, man, I have many Heisman trophies in my case from high school. Many.
Favorite pie. This divides
Favorite
people.
pie. What is that? A good old with the apple cinnamon pie?
Oh,
cinnamon in it?
apple pie, cinnamon apple pie
yeah,
with the
yeah, a little
mode.
cinnamon,
That's all American.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
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 So I like
like
pumpkin. I like pumpkin. It's seasonal. And then I also like key lime pie. And some people, they don't think key lime pie is a pie. Ian Rappaport doesn't think key lime pie is a pie. It's too tart. I don't know what they think. I don't know. It doesn't make sense.
As long as if it's bread, if it's got like breading in a dish in a pan and it looks like that's ridiculous. How is key lime pie not a pie?
I know.
That's absurd.
Okay, finally, the Life Gorgeous quiz. Last question. My favorite sportscaster is a guy named Bob Costas. We all look up to Bob. Brilliant, nice guy. He has a great temperament. You also seem to have a nice, even temperament. Is that real? Or at home, do you blow up and throw dog toys against the wall?
Are you asking me if I'm the great Santini of sports broadcasters, Lord Kilby? Is that what you're asking me?
I want to know if you have a temper or not, because you seem like a sweet man.
I can get, if you cut me off in traffic, the New York accent will come out of me, and I try to have an even keel with my children, because if I do lose my temper, certainly in a public place, my kids will say, people can see you. People can see you. That's what they say to me. Like, you can wind up on the internet, Dad. Like that's what they'll actually say. But I try to.
Could you see? Could you see Costas? I couldn't see him losing his temper. He seems like such a sweet man, But that's my opinion.
Oh, there's certain things that get his goat, like the NFL scouting combine. I always get a text from him during the combine, just making merciless fun of it. Where I'm sitting there treating like a 40-yard dash or a vertical jump like it's a 3-run home run in the bottom of the 9th, and he just has fun with that. He kills me.
Okay, we're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we're going to do Rich Eisen's top 5 movies of all time. Are they the same as they were before? Stay with us. We'll be right back. Ladies and gentlemen, when anyone sends you money or if you need to get paid back, always ask for Zelle. With Zelle, the money goes straight into your bank account, and it works even if the sender banks somewhere different than you in the U.S. You can probably tell by looking at me that Kreger's likes to eat out. A lot of French restaurants. Sometimes my friends pay. I don't like that. Afterwards, I use Zelle and I send them money. I ordered a lot of food. Sometimes we go down to the park and have a barbecue. Afterwards, we all pitch in. I use Zelle. I send hundreds of dollars to my friends. It's kind of a rush. I'm in the park eating barbecue wearing linen. Life is good. The money sent goes straight into your bank account, typically in minutes between enrolled users. You don't have to download another app because it's probably already in your banking app. It's in over 1,600 different banking apps. Always double check that the sender has your correct U.S. mobile number or email address so the money goes to the right place, straight into your bank account. Look for Zelle in your banking app today. My name is Kreger's, and things are going very, very well. And we are back. We have a hard out in 6 minutes. Watch us. I'm going to go right to the edge, right there
3,
to the
2,
post and hit the post.
Hit the post.
Top
Fantastic.
Rich Eisen's top 5 movies. Now we did this on your radio show.
Yes.
By the way, your radio show is now on Roku. Is that what I heard?
Yes, thank you. The Roku channel. It actually debuted today, so
cool.
It's free. It's on. You can get the Roku channel on any Roku device, Samsung smart TVs, Amazon Fire TVs. You can download the Roku app, the Roku channel on the Roku app on any mobile device. The RokuChannel.com, and we started there today, 12 to 3 Eastern. Love to have you back. Roku's the biggest platform I ever had, Craig. So we'll make sure
I wanted
that
you to know
you're.
I'm a Roku fan from way back. We've used it all the time because what you have is if you don't have a smart TV, and my second TV is not a smart TV, it's in another room. We have the Roku device, and you have the Roku channel, and you can do the remote on the Roku on your phone. And then the smart TV in the den, which I'm in right now, sometimes the smart TV acts up. The Roku, I just go to Roku. I put Amazon Prime on Roku. I put NFL Network on Roku, and it always works. Roku, it always works. There's the.
I like it. Channel 210. It's channel 210 on the Roku.
Cool
channels. So
all right,
on the Roku.
You got 5 minutes. Top 5 movies. I wrote down the ones you said on your radio show. Do you changed them or not?
No, I doubt it.
Movies?
Number one is The Sting. Number one
Correct.
is The Sting. My favorite movie of all time is The Sting. The Godfather.
Do you remember even what you said? Yeah, you said The Godfather, which is, of course, number 2 on AFI. Great movie.
Yeah.
Remember what else you said?
Other favorite movies. Did I say The Manchurian Candidate? Did I say
which
that?
one? The original with Sinatra or the one with?
Yeah, of course, the original with Sinatra.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Please,
I'm sorry.
Please, Craig.
My brother likes that one. I always found that one hard to follow. They have all those flashbacks, but that is a good movie. Good. That's good. You said The In-Laws.
Oh yes, The In-Laws is brilliant. My favorite comedy of all time, The In-Laws and Midnight Run. Those are my.
You said Midnight Run, and you said Goodfellas, which is a great one.
Oh, Goodfellas is a great one. Yeah, I just had
forgotten. So I don't have to do mine because I don't have to do mine because people hear mine all the time. But I will mention a couple that I'll mention ones that aren't top 5 and tell me if you've ever seen any of these. Like I think I mentioned like In the Line of Fire. You ever seen that with Clint? No, Malkovich. No. How about The Firm? Have we mentioned The Firm? That's a fun one to watch.
Oh, sure. Little Hackman, little Wilford Brimley is the heavy. Wilford Brimley is the heavy, which usually doesn't get pulled off like that.
Mitch, imagine your young bride walking to the mailbox and looking for and seeing these photos. I mean, that scene was hilarious. And I like No Way Out with Costner. And you've interviewed Costner a lot, right?
I have. Yeah, as a matter of fact, it's funny. We just Susie and I are catching up on Yellowstone. We're in season 3, and there's a new character that just got introduced, played by Will Patton, who is the bad guy from No Way Out. Spoiler alert. Well, there's an ultimate spoiler alert as to who's the real bad guy from No Way Out. No Way Out is a tremendously underrated Costner film in the same vein of Michael Clayton being an underrated Clooney film.
Very good movie.
The Conversation being an underrated Hackman film.
Right.
And the same way, hold on a minute, The Last Detail being an underrated Nicholson film. That's where I'm going on all this stuff.
Well, Michael Clayton might be my favorite Clooney movie. So yeah, that's a really good one. And then, and you mentioned Will Patton. He to me, I don't want to say dominates No Way Out, but he's just he's so entertaining. That character is entertaining.
Oh my God. No Way Out is a great movie, a great Costner movie. Love it.
We have 2 minutes for the hard out. I want to go to just have fun with my Vikings. They have a manageable schedule. They do have to fly to London in a few weeks to play the Saints. But right now, the Rams did not look good in the opener. Where are the Vikes in the power rankings after this first weekend?
I don't know, man. NFC. I mean, we're as you know, Lord Kilby, we're marathoning. We're not sprinting in the NFL. We're not sprinting. You can't take any week 1 cheese. You need to see more of it. Anything can happen. As you saw, Dak Prescott, the Cowboys went from boring and irrelevant to toast with just one cock of the arm for Dak Prescott. So you just never know But my colleague from the NFL Network, the NFL Media Group, Daniel Jeremiah, was the one who first kind of put the Vikings on my radar screen after Kevin O'Connell was hired, to say that O'Connell comes from the McVay Shanahan world, and anybody from the McVay Shanahan world must pay fealty to Kirk Cousins. He is their prototypical quarterback. If you remember, when the Niners traded for Jimmy G all those years ago, it was a surprise to many because everyone assumed Kyle Shanahan was just lying in wait for Kirk Cousins to hit free agency from Washington.
Yeah.
And so when O'Connell got hired by the Vikings, it was the ultimate all-in on Cousins move. And that includes paying him every dollar guaranteed to him like he's a Major League Baseball pitcher, like he's being paid like Garrett Cole, So I'm not surprised that it looked really good in week one. Dalvin Cook stays healthy. Justin Jefferson stays healthy. Obviously, Thielen's a great too. The defense has playmakers on every level. Let's see how it goes, man. But I'm psyched for you and the rest of the
Thank you.
Vikings.
That's fun. I'm very level-headed. I'll take 9-8. I want 10-7. That's what I want. But I just wanted to win that first one. Now, if we win the second one, if we win at Philly, we're going all the way, baby. No, I'm kidding.
I would love to hang with you at the Super Bowl in Arizona.
Absolutely. It's an easy drive. I don't have to fly. I'll drive there. I'll be there. I go out there all the time. I love Arizona. My parents live out there. We just hit your heart out, brother. Thanks for squeezing us in, man.
Way to hit the post, killer. Nothing's changed.
Thank you, man. That was great.
Anytime. Come back when you want. You want to come back? I'll have you back on anytime.
Absolutely, man. Chairman Wolves, Vikings Pride. Thanks, man.
Love it. Take care, guys.
Well, here we are, the very popular Ask Lord Kilby. This is a popular segment that's growing and growing. Keep those questions coming. Go to the YouTube channel, leave a message. And here is this week's first question.
Craigers, this is Mike from Minnesota. I, too, am a Timberwolves fanatic. I've also been blessed with blonde hair and blue eyes, but I'm still trying to get that nice skin. How does one Lord Kilby achieve such small pores and radiant glow? P.S. Can't wait for the Finchie episode. Thanks for giving the people what they want. Proud of you.
I think Chris Finch is coming up next week, actually. Head coach of the Minnesota Timberwolves. One of the most important jobs in the United States of America. I call them tight pores. I was born with them. Stay out of the sun, use sunscreen, drink vodka. It's very cleansing. But I think it's genetics. And watching a lot of Peter O'Toole movies when I was young and just manifesting it. Tight pores, beautiful skin. Lawrence of Arabia. Next question.
Hello, Craig Kilborn. This is your old buddy, Scott Foster from Hastings, Minnesota. It is a beautiful August, 80-degree, no humidity day here in Hastings, Minnesota. Just wondering if this little voicemail thing, I see that you have a lot of views. You still got it, Craig. You still got it. However, it's a lot of work, isn't it? Making these people sound interesting. It's a lot of work. Are you crazy?
Hey, Scott, nice to hear from you from Hastings. It's not too much work. I enjoy it. I enjoy giving back. It all started with my Instagram. So I am enjoying the podcast, and it's not too much work. Next question.
Hey, Craig. Great content as always. I've noticed you mention a few times that you loathe flying. I also do, and I would love to know what you do to remedy the anxiety that comes with flying in your life. Thanks.
Yeah, I don't like flying, so what I do is I drink Bloody Marys on the flight. I try to breathe. Sometimes I'll have red wine or just vodka, but usually I have a Bloody Mary. It's the only time I really have Bloody Marys, but I just try to avoid flying. It's just not exciting and comfortable for me, and I'm kind of proud of that. I always tell people, oh, you like turbulence? You like roller coasters? Well, I don't, because I'm not one of those type of people. Next question, please.
Hey, Craig, I think you know when people say they want to talk to a VC, they generally mean they want to talk to a venture capitalist. But you know what? Today I'd like to talk to a different VC. I'd like to talk to vulnerable Craig, if that's okay. Okay. Can we take off our security blanket and walk outside in the sunshine? Okay, dear, okay. Now, you know what? I just have one question. Craig, who among living people would be your ideal dream guest on the Life Gorgeous program? Okay, now I'm going to back up and give you lots of space so you don't have a nervous breakdown. And listen, I'll listen to your answer on the radio later. Okay, dear? Okay. And Craig, have I told you that I love you today? Because I do. Okay. At least I love your stupid little jokes and stuff. All right. Thank you, Craig.
Thank you for your question, buddy. Let's see. Christopher Nolan, Daniel Craig, James Spader, Candace Swanepoel. Let's see who's still out there right now. I don't know who would be on a Life Gorgeous. Another beautiful person. So maybe I'll just go Christopher Nolan off the top of my head. I can't think of anybody else. I think he's brilliant. Yeah. I mean, I guess I could go Leo. If Leo would do it, I would ask him some questions, see what kind of ball player he really is. He used to play ball. Let's go Leo, followed by Christopher Nolan. That's our show this week. That was a fun one. Thank you, guys. And we will see you next time. And remember, I'm proud of you.